You're listening to Mad Men Sports. The gang's back. Second episode this week in the past 7 days. To my left, Zach, myself, Jake, and Diamond Dave, the crowd favorite.
What up, doggy?
What's going on, Dave? How you been?
Jake, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
You know, pretty good. Just trying to stay stocked up on things I need, and that's fine. Zach, what's going on, man?
We got enough friends. You don't need any more of those.
What? Okay. And that's fine.
Should we restart?
I mean, we don't have to.
No, let's go.
All right. I did the shit out. No one's watching anyways. Go.
So, I mean, there's a lot of news kind of outshadowing Bills news, but that's probably why you're here. We're here to kind of talk about a couple things today. We're going to be talking about the new CBA, free agency, and we can start it off by saying that the Buffalo Bills re-signed Jason Crum, who missed all of last year with injury, kind of coming back to a questionable tight end room. Zach, have any kind of thoughts on bringing back Jason Crum?
Yeah, you know, he's got a chance to fight for a roster spot this spring and summer. Not a bad move on a guy that you've invested now you're 3 years into. And it's a guy that Allen kind of clicked with a little bit in the first year. So hopefully he can, fight for a spot. He's got some speed. He's got some youth to him, too. There's nothing wrong with that. He'll be 27 midway through the next season. So it'll be good to see if he can battle it out with someone. There's a lot of depth there. See how it goes.
Dave, do you have any thoughts about Jason
I think
Crum?
he's got tons of potential, but I don't think we're going to see it here. I think it's more of a favor, and we all know what that means for Jason Crum. I think he's just training camp fodder. He's not going to be around much longer, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the 2018 year, he did have 22 receptions for 259 yards. So not ultra productive, but I mean, you had to think about the role that he was in. He was splitting reps with Charles Clay as well. So he's never really seen kind of those first team reps, and I don't think we expect him to this year as well. Kind of flipping through the playbook here. I mean, a lot of news.
There's the sheet's loaded. Jeez, got me working overtime tonight.
I know. The CBA was kind of signed into effect. A lot of players are not so happy about it, which understandably so. There are always going to be kind of trade-offs with these kind of things.
Didn't they vote on it?
They did vote on it. So to my knowledge, a certain amount of player reps from each team. So they're supposed to represent the team's views, not necessarily their own. So
elections are hard.
Yeah, anything that you kind of bring into a certain amount of people that affects a large amount of people, there's always going to be people who are upset. What is your most interesting kind of change from this new CBA?
I love the playoff format. It came at the wrong time. The Bills are finally good, so we don't need the help for the playoffs, in my opinion. Obviously, we made it last year. 7 teams get in now. That's crazy because for years we were the 7th team not making it, or not. We were the 12th team not making it. But it came at the wrong time, but it's exciting. I'm not sure what it means. I'm kind of ignorant with this. I'm not sure what it means. Who gets the bye? Maybe Zach can help me with that. How many teams get a bye?
With this format, only one team would get a bye.
Yeah, so I have some things pulled up in terms of the playoff format. This may not answer your question, but it has become wrapped up in the deal. Starting as early as next season, the playoff field will expand from 6 teams per conference to 7, with only the top seed in each conference earning a bye week. So under this format, Pittsburgh Steelers, Los Angeles Rams each would have made the playoffs and faced Kansas City and Green Bay respectively.
That is exciting. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to make playoffs a lot more exciting. Wildcard weekend's going to will be fun as hell. I shouldn't swear, kids are listening, but playoff weekend will be fun. Will be real fun. So, Zach, what's your favorite CBA change?
You know, I think a shortened preseason will get a lot of people excited. That'll be implemented probably the soonest. You know, I think it'll take a little bit for the playoff thing to go into effect. I think that'll take one more year. But I think that the playoff thing will be fun. It's crazy how they're finally doing this. And, Ryan Talbot from New York Up went back through all like the years of the Bills missing their playoffs. And you know what's crazy? They were never one game. They were never the last team out. It's always been a shame because they've always missed it by quite a wide margin, or the tiebreakers always pushed them back a couple spots. So even so, you got to just take what it is. The Bills made it 2 out of the last 3 years, and now they kind of have a cushion to, make it again with a little lesser of a team than they have the last 2 out of 3 years. So,
yeah, and I think which on the broad side of things isn't really that important. It is important to the players, not so much as fans. The drug policy. Marijuana in this country has taken a kind of very sharp turn in the public eye. We have now found out through years of testing that indeed marijuana has medicinal purposes in terms of pain management and things of that nature, and of course CBD included. I think it's important. I mean, you look at the NBA. The NBA is very lax on its drug testing. In the NFL, it's nice that they follow suit.
Hell yeah, brother.
So is Josh Gordon in the clear with all of his drug usage, or did he have more than marijuana on his plate? Also, my question with the CBA is, do tickets cost more now? Because 17 weeks means in one extra game. I know the preseason factor, but are fans making out in this?
It might remain to be seen. I know a lot of the talk to why they're adding 17 weeks is for that TV revenue. They're up for negotiations with the networks in the next coming years. I think that's to where they were trying to pin that down. In terms of buying a ticket, I know, and Zach can kind of talk about this as well, we pay per ticket. We pay the same amount of money as we would for a preseason, as we would for a regular season game. So
that's kind of BS, because preseason games cost the same as a regular season game.
Exactly. Yeah. So in that understanding, we will still be paying the same amount of money.
You just can't what you pay for this time.
Exactly. We're kind of getting more bang for our buck.
Talk to me about the roster size increase, Jake. What is that?
So the roster sizing is going to increase the active roster from 53 to 55, meaning that you can activate 2 additional players to the active roster. And I do believe it also makes
2 kickers, baby.
Obviously. I do believe it also kind of increases the practice squad as well. Yes, as many as 14 players per team, each making $10,500 per week, which, of course, is an increase of $2,500.
It's a shitload of money.
It is a lot of money. I mean, you look at us, which I obviously don't make $10,500 a week, but I don't know.
Nice hoodie. It looks like you do.
It's a champion hoodie, man. It's not that expensive. Zach, what do you think about the increase of the roster? I mean, we're going to be playing an additional regular season game. So do you think that kind of calls for 2 additional players? Or do you think that's kind of just conceding with the Players Association kind of throwing them a bone there?
I think roster size can only help injury risk. There's more guys getting more reps. There's more guys getting game day checks. There's more guys getting game day experience. It just helps out everyone as a whole, especially with an extra game of live action football going on rather than, a preseason patty cake game. So there's just more risk involved with injuries. So it's almost correct to follow suit with the amount of players that are able to play on game day.
Yeah, and you even look at it last year as well when we were talking about in the early points of the season that they were activating additional defensive linemen because you had to take the weather into effect. It was kind of hot. Buffalo's defense specifically likes to rotate defensive linemen. So now that kind of takes it out of the equation to where you're going to have to sit some playmakers in terms of having additional defensive linemen. So I think that's good too. It gets more playmakers on the field, and I don't see it as a bad thing at all. Dave, could you agree?
I didn't think of that, but that is a good point. And also the injury thing. The Bills are very fortunate this year with injuries. I don't see that happening next year. So, I mean, let alone having the 2 extra roster spots will make a world of difference. And sorry, okay. I don't know how to talk. So, I mean, I agree. I didn't think of that. I mean, so if you were to ask me the question again, roster increase is probably the biggest thing. 17 weeks is best for the fans. Shortened preseason is also best for the fans. Drug policy, we all have our feelings on that. The playoff format, Hopefully that pays off for us. Hopefully we never struggle again because we have a good freaking team right now. The roster increase, that's probably the biggest thing I would take away from this. Because you when you got injured guys, you usually nitpick off other teams' practice squad and get other players. There's several players in the past we have gotten. Now we won't really have to do that. Now we should be better prepared. And something I want to talk about, and I know you guys were kind of dreading this, is free agency starts in a week, right?
No, this week.
I think it starts tomorrow.
Tomorrow they can talk to teams.
Technically today at noon, tampering period starts, and you can talk to agents to teams, and by then, I guarantee teams will figure out who they have, who they don't have.
Which is specifically the negotiation window starts tomorrow at noon. League year on Wednesday. Franchise designation ends tomorrow at noon. I know, Zach, we were talking about that before the podcast. That
Dak Prescott could be a free freaking agent.
I know. I mean, if he's turning down
Jerry Jones,
million,
suck it.
It's going to be interesting.
Do you think he stays with the Cowboys?
I would find it hard pressed for Jerry Jones, a man of integrity, maybe a little stubborn.
He's a scumbag.
Mostly definitely stubborn. Definitely not listening. I don't think that he's going to offer more to Dak Prescott than he already is. That was a pretty significant deal that he was going to sign.
Brady Gate. Where's Brady going, Zach?
I don't know. I'm probably back to New England at this point.
Really? So you thought that the Titans were end all be all for him?
Oh my God.
I think that the Titans pulled out because they knew something that someone else didn't. You know, everyone's saying it's down to Tampa Bay or New England, and I don't think he leaves I don't think he leaves New England.
Interesting. And I mean, there might be something to your point as well. I mean, Mike Vrabel had that experience. I mean, to think that they don't have a personal relationship is kind of absurd. So maybe he said something to Mike Vrabel.
So you think the Chargers and the Raiders are completely out?
It's just what people are saying. I don't know.
Okay. Is there any free agents you guys are targeting for this week that you really, really want?
Not necessarily. I know that there has been talk about that Cleveland Browns quarterback.
Cornerback?
Linebacker, excuse me.
Christian Kirksey?
Yes, Christian Kirksey.
I said it right.
Me. His name was escaping me. I think he's like 27 years old. He would, honestly.
Didn't he play with Poyer?
Yeah.
Hyde. Who's he friends with?
Poyer. And Hyde.
Friends with
I think
everyone.
they went to college together.
With Hyde, and he was in Cleveland with Jordan Poyer.
So, and he came in for a visit this week, correct?
That is correct.
Left, though.
Well, there's shit going on in the world right now. So my number one free agent target, I will start the party, is I wrote down here, besides any Carolina Panthers on the table, Mario Addison, the defensive end, who's 32 years old, who I don't want. Everson Griffin is also 32 years old, but he's a proven defensive end. He's a Pro Bowl defensive end. I think he's a second-team All-Pro defensive end twice. Everson Griffin from the Vikings is my number one free agent target. Get it done, Bean.
You still haven't wavered off of the fact that defensive line is our
I have not, and I will not.
need. Really?
I mean, I would like Amari Cooper at 25 years old. Why wouldn't you? But I don't see the Raiders not holding on to both those guys. So Everson Griffin's my pick for free agent, number one target. Who do you got, Zach?
I think they'll have to tag Prescott, and I think Cooper will be out there because I don't think they'll be able to pay both. I guess I just want Cooper out of who's out there right now. Not a huge pot of desirables out of the free agent market at the moment.
Yeah, and something to Amari Cooper. Greg Rosenthal was talking earlier this week about how there's really three teams that could outbid Dallas for Amari Cooper, and list Bills as one of them. So we do have the cap space, and there was an addition under the new CBA for an increased cap, right? $198 million, if I'm not mistaken. Does that sound right, Zach?
Yeah, it's about right. I think it's like 188, and then they went up to 10 million from last year.
So, I mean, not so much in terms of changing things up. It's not revolutionary. I think that will be good for signing rookies and leaves maybe more for a player or two. But, I mean, more cap's never a bad thing, in my opinion.
Do you think you have one day to decide? Does Shaq Lawson continue to stay a Buffalo Bill or no?
I think they get it up. His tweets say it all. He's making that for life thing. He's posted a lot of pictures.
NWO, baby.
Exactly. Posting a lot of pictures in Bills attire. So I think he's trying to get it done. Whether or not, of course, they reach an agreement might be another thing. I'd love to have him back.
He gone.
'Tis the season for overspending. That's all I'll say. Let someone else overpay for him. Love to have him back, but he also deserves to get paid, just like everyone else. That's a first rounder that kind of flattens out.
Well, fans, let us know who you want for agent targets, and let us know what you think of the CBA. Jake, take us home.
Yeah, we've made a mutual agreement as well. In the event there's news, we're going to be going to 2 days a week.
Maybe 3 if there's news.
Yeah, so expect more madness.
I might have a lot of free time coming up, so
we'll be there for you, man. Thank you once more
Gavin,
for tuning
Austin.
in. Thank you, Gavin. Thank you, Austin. We appreciate your viewership. Just make sure you watch on separate devices so we get those additional views. Thanks, buds.
Leave your comments, guys.
Comments, hit that subscribe button. Give us a like. Give us a comment. Diamond Dave lives for reading your comments.
I don't work. I just read your comments, but I don't respond.
No.
These knuckleheads respond.
Follow us on Twitter, Facebook. If you want to listen to just audio, you certainly can. Podcast Addict, iTunes, Spotify, whatever you want. Google Podcasts even we're on. Thank you very much, Bills fans. Stay safe. Keep on rocking in the free world.
Say your prayers and take your vitamins.
We're out.